Jane, we should be live. I'm going to put the cameras on. Let everyone see us, shall I?
Yes, that would be helpful.
We should be live. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Hi. I am going to check on that there Facebook and YouTube that we are, in fact, live. I'm just going to sit, Jane. I've been a bit delicate this past few days, haven't I?
Yeah, you've been suffering, bless you.
It's been all right, because I've been over there and not had to have my camera face on and all of that. And then today...
And then I make you come and sit with me.
That's all right, my darling. I like to sit with you. We don't mind sitting with you. I'd rather not be seen. If I could have sat here with a bag on my head, I'd have been fine.
You're so beautiful, and you just say that, and it's lovely.
Oh, I don't know. There are just, moments where the fibro takes over and there's pain and everything. But look, we do appear to be live on both Facebook and YouTube. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Natasha Makes. If you are new here, we're not Natasha.
No.
No. My name's Gemma Pinfield Thomas. This here is the fabulous Stitchy Witch, Jane Alcock. We're having a Stitchy Witchy Wednesday.
We are having a Stitchy Witchy Wednesday for a change.
With many wondrous Stitchy Witchy things, Jane.
Yes, we've had some
all the fun.
Gorgeous panels in, and I've had lots of fun playing with those. Thread on there.
Beautiful. I know. What are we like with threads? We can't leave them alone. Now, you see, you probably can't see what she's just picked off, but Jane and I are the same. And we're constantly picking threads off each other as well.
Yeah, and hair.
Hair as well, yeah, we do that too. Jane, we love Macawa. We really
do.
Love Macawa.
They're beautiful panels.
The bulk of what we've got behind us is Macawa. We absolutely adore them. We've also got a little bit of Lewis and Irene magic this month as well.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Today as well. But yes, tell us what happened when this came in.
Well, this pirate panel is a panel of two, and they just say, oh, they're flags.
Yes, skull and crossbones, they say they are flags.
Yeah,
so
you just basically, their idea is you just quilt them and hang them as flags.
Yeah.
They make a nice cushion, nice big cushion, that's about 24 square cushion.
It's
so you
beautiful.
could do that. That's a very simple, I haven't tried the ends in there, look, Gemma, that thread there. That's just simply layered up and quilted just around the shapes, and they're nice shapes to quilt round. It's a very nice panel to quilt.
Nothing too small or
no.
nickety there, is there?
This stripe is already printed on, this bit of border here, so I just quilted it just around inside. And then it's a bound edge cushion. I had a little bit of the scattered fabric left over from this panel.
Yeah.
So I just put that on the border there. So you can get the door hanging or wall hanging, whichever you want to do. We put it on as a door hanging, but
a certain young Master Frederick.
Yes.
Natasha's son.
I just think it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Because it's a bit like, beware ye all who enter here type of thing.
It is.
And it's something different, isn't it, a door hanging? You don't often hear about door hangings, but it's like having a place, a name tag on your door, but a bit different, a bit more fun.
It is.
But you could have that, if you've got children that share a room, you could have them hanging over their beds to denote their half of the room,
Yeah.
Short of putting a red and white stripe tape down the middle of the room to stop them fighting each other. Ask me how I know.
Well, exactly.
And then we've incorporated their bunting panel.
Yes.
Into the bottom. They've got a pre-printed bunting panel. Now, I've only obviously I've backed mine with the flags from the bunting panel as well. You could just use plain fabric on the back if you wanted to. But even with using the 6 out of the panel, you've still got 10 left that you could make a flag of, a string of bunting with as well to decorate the room. So the whole bundle would make the door hanging, the cushion, including the backing and the binding, and a strip of flags if you used the plain black on the back. So we've included in the kit. The kit's fabulous because you've got lots of options, or you can just make 2 cushions.
Yes. And we will have a proper look at the kits in a little while, but they have got some mega deal prices on those as well, those Macawas. So we tried to bring you the best possible value that we can. We did the same thing with the pool party where you had big discounts. These are also brought to you at a fantastic price. So we'll have a little look at the kits in a little while. But you've done this. Yeah. You've done a playmat.
This is really simple because this is everything on here apart from these little 4 patches is the panel.
Yeah.
We've added the contrast white to do the sashing, and then we've got long quarters for the 4 patches and the binding. Now the long quarters are going to give you more than you need, so you've got some extra for your stash. But again, that's a really cute little play mat for tummy time.
It's lovely.
You know,
or
a little
nap quilt.
Yeah, nap quilt or a lap quilt, or just, you know,
or
to hang on the wall as well. So, yeah, there's
really nice size
lots
for
of options.
Toddler bed as well, isn't it? Really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what? Who doesn't love a pirate? Jane and I love a pirate. We do.
Yes, we do. So much so that I had a pirate party for my 40th
She
birthday.
did.
Yes.
I did debate us dressing up as pirates.
We did think about it, didn't we?
It was a little bit late in the day for us to do this, wasn't it? But otherwise, the temptation was massive.
I think we just got a little bit show happy, didn't we, yesterday? We were running on empty batteries virtually, I think,
really
by
were.
the time we came to leave yesterday. So we got a little bit crazy and went, oh, should we dress as pirates tomorrow?
Shall we do that? No. I'm sorry if I seem rude this morning. I'm still shenanigating and setting up. So
yes, there's still lots to load, isn't there?
Yeah, well, there's just things to tweak and add images to and stuff, because we did loads of this yesterday.
Yes.
And then both of us went,
time to go home now.
I've got to stop pulling silly faces, because it's always that face that's the screen that's used as the preview for the show. It'll be me pulling some gurning, grimacing face. I could win a competition. But yes, so there is a little bit of tweaking going on here. But we have viewers, Jane, and they're chatting to us. So let's say good morning to everyone. We have Jimmy and Julia. And Albon says, morning ladies, I thought I'd treat myself to watching live with a cup of tea.
Oh, nice.
Good for you.
Lovely.
Fabulous. And yeah, we've got Joy and Elizabeth Crangle as well. She's with us, Auntie Lizzie as well. Yep. So we've got people saying hello, Gemma and Jane. That's all very lovely.
Thank you.
And hello to our YouTubers as well.
Yes, good morning, YouTubers. Because we don't always see the YouTubers' comments, do we? But we try and look.
No, we don't. But yes, treat yourself to a cup of tea and watching the show today, because I think it's good. Middle of the week, Wednesday. They call it hump day, don't they?
Yes,
you're feeling like this in the middle of the week, and then it's all... Okay,
all downhill to the weekend.
The weekend's on its way, so we will lead you towards the lovely weekend. I'm going to be just tweaking the products, making sure those go live for you. We have limited stock on these things, and they are coming to you at discounts and deals because it's SJ's birthday tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes.
She's 30 tomorrow. We call her the office child, so it seemed appropriate to have fabulous childlike makes at fantastic prices. So while you show the half metre heavens, Jane, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll tweak the last few bits and bobs. I say this with love and with no pushy sales, but we do have limited stock on everything today. So just, if you want them,
put them in your basket.
Yeah.
Check
them out, because when they're in your basket, if they're not checked out and someone else checks it out, it's gone to them. Fastest finger first.
And, you know, we always say it, if you see something else that you'd like later on, just drop us a note and we'll combine your orders.
Yes.
Combine your postage and probably be able to give you some of your postage back.
Yes.
So, you know, don't think, oh, I've got to wait and do one order, because we will. If you drop us a note,
we'll combine those.
We'll combine the orders for you, so don't worry about
Jane's
missing out.
Doing that now, aren't you?
Oh yes, I'm an expert.
She's an expert at this. She's a whiz, I tell you. I'm going to go into overhead, Jane, so that you can show everybody this week's half metre heavens. Now, the half metre heavens, for those that don't know, they go live at midnight tonight. They are our super duper deal we have every Thursday. You get half a metre of designer fabric and half a metre of a fabulously chosen coordinating plain, Jane.
Yes.
Not that you are plain, Jane.
Natasha has great fun, and we all go, ooh, yes, we like that. She's got
a beautiful eye for colour.
Absolutely.
And she's spent some time with it, didn't they?
Yeah, she's very clever at picking out the colour that you wouldn't always necessarily think, but it really makes the colours pop in the pattern piece.
So you won't find these on the website yet. Midnight tonight, that's when it'll be fastest fingers first for these. But we'll go into overhead, let Jane show you those, and I'll be quiet for a bit.
Look at that. That is a piece of, there, my mouth's not working, a piece of Cave. It is hot house leeks, and this is bright pink, and this bright pink just pulls all the pinks that are in there and sets them off beautifully, but also makes the gold colour in there pop as well, which is fascinating.
Fabulous.
So that's a nice bit of Cave house leeks. Love that fabric. It's such a versatile fabric.
I'm just a Philip Jacobs fan, and when Philip does the design work, and then
this is a nice bit of watermelon, Cave watermelons, Cave Facet Collective. My mouth's not working. Watermelons with a nice piece of emerald, and that picks up all those lovely greens in there. That's lovely. That'd make a great beach bag, wouldn't it, with the melons on. We've got lots of patterns that are work with 1/2 meters, so you know there's always something that you can do. Now this is a little bit of Millefiore dark, and it looks like we're limited to 1 of these, so you really are going to have to be fast as fingers first. And this is a nice bit of marine. Now marine is a lovely, what I would call a primary blue, and there's this colour blue in the background on this Millefiore and a little bit within the pattern, and it really does lift it because it's quite a dark fabric with the purples and the browns and the black in there, but that blue just sets it off nicely.
I love a Millefiore.
I do. I think it's a lovely pattern. Again, it's one of those that every time you cut it, you get a different pattern in it.
Yes.
This is this is Cafe as well, isn't it? This one. This is embroidered flower, and it's green, and we have popped a little bit of magenta with that, just because we've got this little magenta in the background here and within the flowers, and that's really pretty. And again, it's a nice broad stripe in there that lends itself nicely to being shown off in a bag. You know, you've got these elements here that would
there are just certain
work
things
really
that you look
nicely.
at and say, that's what that's meant to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's that one. And then we've got a lovely bit of Hokusai's Mums here. This is natural colourway. Hokusai's Mums is such a love, again, classic Cafe, big, bold, bright flowers. And we've put that with, is that with fur or emerald?
Oh, that's a really good question, Jane.
That is fur. Fur, and it just
Sometimes
is the exact colour of the green leaves in there.
Sometimes there's a small amount of difference between
Yeah,
the paints,
it's
but
very subtle sometimes.
Yeah, and that's where the 1/2 metre heavens come into their own, because if you were trying to choose yourself over the internet, with the best will in the world, it's like trying to choose paint on the internet, isn't it?
It's so difficult because your screen will give it a different colour. You can look at the same fabric on your computer and on your phone, and they'll look completely different.
Exactly. So Natasha has done all the work for you. She has taken 3 or 4 different shades sometime of the same colour and thrown them across the fabric, only to grab them away and pull something completely different.
Yes.
So she's done the colour matching for you.
This is Pinwheels in spring, and she's put this with amethyst, which picks out these purples beautifully. I love this one. It's such a fresh, and it is. It's very spring-like, and you know, beautiful cushion for your garden seat or something like that. Beautiful, beautiful,
Fabulous.
We've got a little bit of fun here. This is a Brandon's design for the Cave Facet Collective. This is Koi Polloi.
I love the name.
I love Koi Polloi.
I love the name. I just think, what a brilliant choice of
Yeah.
name. But the colours in this are stunning, aren't they?
This is with lavender. This is the Delph colourway. And this is with lavender, which just complements the purple within the fish there. You know, swim bag, or somebody that, you know, if you've got someone that's an angler, make them a little pouch to take their things with them when they go fishing. That sort of thing. We've got the octopus here. We love the octopus. This is a classic print. He's there, look. And then that's a little bit of aqua with there, because there's a very subtle aqua colour within that. It looks almost like it's a black and white print, but then when you look at it closely, you've got a little bit sort of like a soft peachy colour here, and then there's some aqua with the bright colours for the features.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
The octopus is a lovely print if you're making swim bags and things like that.
Oh yes, yeah.
So
It's just a bit of fun.
When you
And
cut it
again,
into fat quarters and
it's one of those fabrics you can cut up and it'll look nothing like an octopus.
Exactly, and we've made infinity scarves with a fat quarter of that and 2 other capes, and you know, people don't see the octopus and then the scarf moves and they're like, "Is there a little face in your scarf?" Yep.
Yeah, there is. This is
She's
Meadow.
brilliant.
And this is a beautiful print. You've got butterflies and bees in here with these lovely poppy-like flowers, I think they are. I think this must be a Philip Jacobs design because of the beautiful flowers. I'm trying to work out what colour the plain is that's with this. It looks like it might be bright pink. Yes, it is. And that gives it a bit of a zing, I think. Yeah. We could have gone really careful with that and gone with like the gold or the hot tomato. But putting the bright pink with it, just, you can imagine that in the lining of a bag. Open your bag and it's like, woo, nice. we've got quite a few of these today. There's some lovely ones, but some of them are limited to, you know, only a couple. So this is Coleus. This is lovely. Again, a beautiful Coleus.
Go close up on that one, Jade, because I think it needs a close up, doesn't it? Look at this.
This is Coleus lavender.
The colours in that. Gorgeous.
There's a limited number on this one. And Natasha has put it with purple, I think. No, imperial. So it's just a little bit more of a bluey purple, the imperial is. So that really works well with the greens as well as the purples that are in there. Then we've got this one. Now I love this one. This is a beautiful, this is a paisley jungle in contrast. And this is with our fuchsia. And it's a beautiful, bold paisley print. But again, you know, you cut this up, you could have great fun fussy cutting this for your EPP, or just use it as it is in a nice bag and everybody be like, wow, that's a fantastic bag. And look at that lovely flash of pink in the lining. It's gorgeous.
It's an all-time favourite, that one of ours, isn't it? We love a paisley here.
This is Hokusai's Mum's Hot. This has got lovely rich tones in here. There's a lovely teal blue and golds and this lovely flash of pink. And this is our raspberry that we've put with this, which just blends beautifully with the flashes of pink within that. These are such lovely prints to use. And again, you know, when you're doing your piecing, and if you've got small pieces, you can cut this piece up and you look like you've got several different fabrics within your patchwork when you've used all the same one. Now we've got some Lewis and Irene here. This is the Dinosaur Glow.
Jane, tell us about the glow.
It is an ultraviolet, reacts to the sunlight. So you'll get it and it won't do anything when you open your packet. Excuse me. And then you'll leave it out in the daylight for a few hours and then you'll switch the light off and all the white on this glows.
It does.
In a, you know, ultraviolet green colour type way. We put this with slate look. Look how lovely that looks.
Beautiful.
Simple cushions with this. Great fun. Lunch bags, school bags, all sorts of things. With that little bit of glow in the dark adds that little element of fun there. For your paleontologist in the family.
Yeah.
We have got, this is a bit more of the Dino Glow, and this is I can't say it, ammonites. Ammonites. Look at that. And so these ones here, where you see the white in this, on any of the patterns in the Dino Glow, they're the ones that are going to glow in the dark. And that's with a little bit of slate as well. It's just the perfect colour for this because although it sort of looks grey, it's got like a bluey tone to it, which is lovely and soft. And so our slate works really nicely with those fabrics. We've got a little bit more of the Dino Glow here. Now this is in the indigo, so it's like a blue tone. And again, all those skeletons will glow in the dark. And we've put that with navy. Again, nice and classic. Lovely for the piping of a cushion or the binding or straps and a lining for your bag if you're going to make a bag for somebody. So that's a bit of fun, those fabrics there. Then we're coming back here now, and this is Brandon's fabric, isn't it? This is Philip Jacobs' fabric, actually. This is his, it's not under the Cave Collective, it's actually his leopard. Snow leopard design.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So he's done his colour work as well as his artwork on here. It's lovely, isn't it?
It's beautiful. Leaves of butterflies in there. And we've put that with our, I'm going to say jade, and now I think I'm going to be wrong if I say jade. I am. It's Baltic, which is just a slightly shade darker than our jade, and that just sets that off beautifully. These colours within the leaves and all of the colours in there. Great fun. Beautiful butterflies. Again, you could have fun fussy cutting that. There's a bit more of the Lewis and Irene ammonite. I want to say amulet, and I know it's not amulet, and my mouth won't let me not say it.
It's okay, Jane. We'll let you.
This is a lighter colour. This is I think it's called blue grey, slate grey, and we have put that with our cloud fabric, which is a nice sort of a bluey grey tone, a nice soft light colour there. Beautiful. And again, it's the glow in the dark. So nice, good fun fabric. This is the Dino Glow in light grey. And we have put it with our light grey. Our light grey plain. Sometimes that's all it needs. It just needs something just that's, you know, subtly different but more or less the same, and it just works beautifully. And again, all the skeletons on here will glow in the dark. Just give them a couple of hours to charge, as it were, in the daylight.
Exactly.
This one again is part of the Dino Glow range. This is warm grey. This is fun because actually there's just the outlines of the dinosaurs, and some of the scales on these, when it goes into the dark, will glow in the dark. So you get all the outlines and everything. And we've put that with our jade. I've just picked up a little bit of this one here. Just works beautifully. So that's a light grey, glow in the dark, dinosaurs on warm grey, and that's with jade. And then we've got glow in the dark dinosaurs on slate. And again, we have put that with jade again because the jade seems to pull all the colours together and make that work. And it's, again, it will be glow in the dark. All the white parts that you see on here will glow in the dark, which gives it a good fun thing to do.
Perfect.
Lunch boxes, school book bags, pump bags. We used to have a pump bag when I was at school, and when Isaac and Josh were at school, they needed to have pump bags as well.
I love a pump bag.
Yeah, they're very handy.
Do you remember I designed my stowaway bag, which is basically a pump bag, but it's got a big pocket on the front.
That's right.
So you could put your stowaway cuddly toy in, you could put your water bottle, and I love a pump bag.
They're great for anything, aren't they? Just chucking it in.
Well, you wouldn't have thought, would you?
Yeah,
this is
the Dino Glow volcanoes and dinosaurs. Glow in the dark again, so all these white elements here will glow in the dark, but there's volcanoes in this, ferns, trees, and we've put that with coral because it picks up these dinosaurs here. No, it's not your first colour to think of, is it? No. But it works beautifully with that.
She's clever, that Natasha.
She is clever. Very clever. So those are the half metre heavens, which, as Gemma says, will go live at midnight tonight.
They will.
So don't try looking for them now because you won't find them. Although there are still some absolutely gorgeous half metre heavens available.
There are, but not many.
Not many, no,
because a huge number. So all of them are limited quantity.
Yeah.
And then it's just a case of some are more limited than others because they might be the end of a bolt where we've only got a little bit of stock and we just. You know, there might just be a half metre left on the end of the bolt, and we sometimes
just think
it's just one or two.
We'll just stick that in for the half metre heavens, just to give you a little treat.
Jane, I'm going to put this one to the back.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you to show the pirate one first. This one is already selling fast, and we don't have a lot of stock left. So let's just have a little peek.
This is the panel. That's what you get.
Oh, hang on, sorry. Oh. I went overhead early doors. I was trying to preempt you. There she is.
There is
lovely big panel.
This is so much fun, and as you work with it, you'll start to see. We'll go overhead now, Jem. You will start to see all the little fun details that are within the panel. There's little fish down here, little crab. You've got a shipmate who's an octopus. Captain's the lion, obviously.
Of course he is.
And then all the animals in there dressed as pirates. You've even got the seagull dressed as a pirate with the parrot as well.
I love the stripy top. I love the little.
He's bandana. Even got a little spotty bandana. The detail that Macau have put into this panel is just absolutely fabulous. You've got the squares here that coordinate, and they're the squares that I cut out and then sashed with our white to make the panel behind. I trimmed this down slightly because I wanted it more square. So this is actually a rectangle, so you could do it that way. You could simply cut those strips there, leave them as they are, and then sash these ones and put them along the top if you wanted to.
There are options all over the shop.
I cut it all out and trimmed the squares down because I say they're squares and they're not actually, they're slightly rectangular. So I trimmed them down to make them square. But they're just, you could make a book with these, you know, a little padded book with the squares. You don't have to make it into a quilt. You've got a cushion panel and then little book there. You know, the panel and the fabrics that coordinate with it are just beautiful. So we've got the panel with all those delicious colours in it. And I chose these 4 nice primary colours to go in the 4 patch in the corner, sort of picking out the colours that were in the panel. Within the panel there's the panel. All these lovely colours that just, I felt, work beautifully with it. We've got some of our lime green, our orange, sunshine yellow and marine, because that, as I said, marine is just such a lovely, what I would think of as a primary blue. Really nice and sort of clean, which sounds weird to say that, but it's not meant in the fabric scrubby kind of way, but it's got a freshness to it.
Yeah, it's a clear colour.
Yes, clear, that's it. Sure. Then we've got the white, which I've used for the sashing and the borders, and then you've got a long quarter of red, which is enough to do the binding on the quilt, and the red picks out the red that's within everybody's stripy t-shirt there. Brilliant. So that's a nice kit. You've got long quarters here. You won't use all of your long quarters, but there's plenty there and a good amount for your stash. So if you wanted to add extra borders or do other things with it to coordinate, you've got that extra fabric there. So that's the kit, the panel with the 5 long quarters and a half metre of fabric. And it's just lovely, a nice, bright, fun panel, that one.
Wonderful. And that was a really easy make, Jane, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jane's written instructions of how she made.
You've got the instructions here.
Well, you've called it the pirate playmat, haven't you? But as we've said, it could be a quilt, could be a wall hanging, could be a bed throw, you know, whatever else. But we've put these instructions for this particular make in with it. Yes,
because it's quite specific. Yes. I can't say the word. Specific to the panel.
I mean, the instructions are available separately as well, so maybe you already have this panel. You know,
or you may have a similar panel, or, you know, if you've got a panel. They do similar ones. So, you know, you may have something that is a big panel with some coordinating squares that go with it. So, you know, you might think, oh, actually, that would work with this panel that I've got. So, yeah, we have got them available separately, but we're going to put them in with the kit, aren't we?
Sure. Or maybe you've got, you know, a panel that would be right for the centrepiece here. How big is that square, Jane?
I trimmed it down to 18.5 inches square.
And maybe you'd want to put just plain, you know,
coordinating squares,
all the way around the outside.
You could certainly do that.
Fabrics that you've got from a blender collection. So, you know, there is still an option to use this
pattern. This is another one that would work well with a cushion panel. Because I think what started this all off is we got the panels and we were like, oh, cushions?
Again?
Well,
then we do love a cushion.
We love cushions, but you do get to the point where you're like, do I actually need any more cushions? So I sort of tried to work out what we could do that was as simple as a cushion, really, but looked a little bit different. So that's where the thought came for behind the door hanging, which we can see behind us.
And then you couldn't resist a cushion.
No.
But a lovely big floor cushion.
A nice big one, you know. And as I said, you know, if you're not going to hang it on the door, or you're going to hang it over their bed, maybe, to have the cushion on the bed as well, it just brings it all together.
And with children as well, you know, quite often a big floor cushion's nice.
Yeah, it's nice to sit down. Snuggle down and read a book on and everything like that. Yes.
Mine spent a lot of time on the floor.
Yeah, I still do.
Yeah. We both do. I was sat on the floor yesterday in here, wasn't I?
Yeah, I think that was the only place you could get comfortable, though, wasn't it, yesterday?
I wasn't comfortable anyway. Yesterday I wasn't even comfortable on the floor. It was just an attempt. A change is as good as a rest.
Yeah, just keep moving yourself around in the hope that you will find somewhere comfortable. Yeah.
So for your teeny pirate, we have this one, and then the pirate starts to grow up a little bit, doesn't it, as we get to our skulls and crossbones.
And this works teenagers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or if you've got a shed, because some people have like
my brother
a man's shed or a she shed
stuff. Yeah,
we love it.
He's got rum bottles, and he has signs, beware all who enter, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, he's got pirate stuff, and he is 40.
So the panel consists of 2 of these skull and crossbones. So he's got a blue bandana hat on and a red. One's got his earring on the right, one's got his earring on the left. Apart from that, there's not much difference between the 2. One's a black background and one's a red background. So you can choose which one you want to use for your panel.
Or maybe you've got twins or 2 children, you want to do something for them each, and they can have the same but different. So you've got no arguing over that's mine, no it's mine.
Yeah.
Because one of them knows that they've got the blue and the other one's got the red bandana.
Yeah, exactly. So
we do like that. It's like, I always think I could have a job with the United Nations after raising 2 children.
Yes. It's definitely a skill. It's peacekeeping force.
You've got this colour, you've got that colour, that is the law of the house. Yes.
This is your bunting panel. Bunting panel. And you've got enough here. There are 16 flags altogether.
Is my mic on? Well, you say this. Perhaps my hair was over it, do you think?
Maybe you just went a little bit quiet.
Shall I try and use my big girl voice, SJ? Shall I? Thank you, my sweet.
It's all right.
There we are.
That's good. It's always good to know that you can be heard. Because I've got a quiet voice, so I get the loud microphone. So Gemma has the quieter microphone.
I do. There's one that's slightly quieter. Karen says skulls and crossbones work for me, and I'm in my 50s.
Yeah. I love a pirate as well, After Pirates of the Caribbean, who wouldn't?
Right.
Johnny Depp.
Absolutely, indeed. Your mother's just arrived, however, so perhaps we shouldn't be waxing lyrical
she
about
knows.
Johnny Depp.
She knows about my love for Johnny Depp.
And Jude Law, as it happens.
Yes.
Morning, Kate.
So we've got 16 flags on the bunting. So you've got the potential. As I said, I used 6 of these for the hanging, but you don't have to back them with the bunting flag. You could back it with a plain fabric and just have the buntings facing forward.
Yep.
So if you just use 3, you've got a potential then of another 13 flags to make a string of bunting with. So even using the 6, there's still 10 flags left over.
We've got a few of the bunting panels over as well.
Yes, we have got a couple of those available on their own.
So perhaps you want some extra bunting.
Just to hang in your garden and scare the neighbours.
Natasha's always put bunting in the children's rooms.
It's nice to have, isn't it?
It is, and it's an easy way to have a theme.
Yes.
You don't have to paint everything, have a theme and switch it up as well.
Yeah, it does. It makes it
swap
nice.
things around from time to time, don't they?
You'll have a ½ metre of your skull and crossbone coordinating fabric there. And then you've got a nice chunk of 1½ metres of the black. So you can use it for the back of the bunting flags. You can use it for the back of your cushion and your binding and everything else that you need for the wall hanging, the lettering and all of that. So that's quite a nice kit there.
Yep.
With everything in, and as I say, that you will be able to make your door hanging and your cushion and leftover bunting with that kit. So it's a good.
That is a
nice
kit,
it's a nice kit to have.
It really is.
And to make lots of coordinating things.
Absolutely. I'm going to be popping the link to these products into the chat on both Facebook and YouTube in a moment. However, if you are an eager beaver, and I see actually many of you have already ordered, you can always pop to natashamakes.com. You can click on the Watch Live tab, or you can scroll round to the Workshop Wednesday page. Make sure you click View Products and then View All. Otherwise, you'll only see a skiddly few. We don't like a skiddly few.
Yes, I think sometimes
don't we?
People don't often see that View All in the top right-hand corner of the bar. And sometimes people will message me on the customer service and say, have you got? And
Where's
I'm
all
like,
the products?
oh, they've searched for that and they haven't clicked view all.
Yes.
So yeah.
So do that. And yeah, there are fantastic deals, especially on these Macawas today. I mean,
Yeah, there's
bonkers craziness.
crazy.
The Pirate mat, play mat, does come with instructions, although the instructions are there separately in case you wanted to buy them instead, and not have the kit, or if the kit sells out. We also have the skull and crossbows kit, crossbones, not bows. It's a different thing, crossbow. We have that kit, and that is without instructions. The instructions are sold separately. So just to be very, very clear on that.
Yeah.
Those kits are on a
Let's hope it's working.
Yeah, hopefully we've got Jane back, everybody. And hopefully you can hear me, because I've got a big voice.
That's what we need, isn't it?
Yes.
My voice isn't just, it doesn't matter how hard I try, even when I shout.
Oh, yeah, the
It's
thing
not
is, you
that loud.
shouting is not a scary thing at all, Jane, because you are, in fact, lovely. So, yeah. Right.
And as my mum would say, it's not about shouting, it's about speaking clearly and enunciating your words.
We're back.
Yeah.
Have me in a second because I have no batteries.
That's good. That's what we want. Sorry about that.
Okay, sound check, sound check. Let's see if everyone can hear me. I'm going under the camera, under the camera. No one needs the super close-up view of me, Jane. No, no, no.
There we go.
Have you got us back?
I
Can
think
you hear
we're-
us?
I think we're
These
back.
things work better with batteries.
They do. Most things that require batteries.
To be fair, those were quite new.
Yes.
This equipment, it zaps them very, very quickly. So we normally change them every show, but if we've had a not particularly long show, we might just do 2.
Yeah.
And you should be able to do at least 2 shows on a set of batteries, Jane.
You
Come on
should really, but yes,
These are
obviously
high-power
not
ones, but-
working.
No. Sorry, didn't get that, can't hear you. I mean, no, neither could anyone else, Megan. Let's see, shall we? Over on YouTube, we have lots of lovely messages, so I'll read these out while we're absolutely sure everyone can hear us.
Yes, and we'll get
and that's
back.
a little sound check for everybody. Ali B's Home Alone, hurrah!
Oh, bless her.
God love you, Ali, that's amazing. Found you searching for quilt videos, but I stayed for the shenanigans, says Cynthia.
Lovely.
Love that. So yeah, there's a lot of people saying that we're great for their mental health. Everyone needs a smile and a chuckle daily.
Yes,
Well, we
absolutely.
try. We do try.
do.
Yeah, all of this. We're all willing Gemma to look at her screen and discover no sound. That's SJ's job today, but she's busy eating donuts because she's 30 tomorrow.
Yes. She's going to be in a sugar coma by the end of the show.
I don't need to see that bit. She's supposed to be on that
Gemma
today.
shouted me earlier and she said, "Do you want a donut?" And I was like, "No, I don't think that's a good idea just before a show."
The only time that Jane's a little bit crabby is just before a show, isn't it?
I just get so worried about
She gets
everything.
so worried
I get
about
nervous.
everything.
I get nervous about it all.
She does, and then she's all grumpy and crabby. And
Oh.
I know I don't want a donut. I'll have one afterwards.
Not a good idea
I'll
to
be
give
nice
me a
again
donut.
afterwards.
Oh dear.
Good.
You're learning
yes,
all my
you can hear
secrets.
me. Amazing. Let's see over on Facebook. Okay, we have loads of lovely bodies. I think they can all hear us now. This is good. Poor Leslie Freeman is poorly.
Oh dear. Healing wishes to you, Leslie.
Well, she says she's so cold. She sat curled up on the sofa with tea and toast.
Oh, we're sending you virtual hugs.
We are. Lovely Julia France had a big birthday this week. She said she's got coffee and chocolate birthday cake.
Ooh, we're coming
I have
round.
bought-
We'll be there in a minute.
3 cakes in, so SJ could choose. She's a bit of a cake snob.
Who, SJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a bit.
She likes a specific type of cake, so I bought 3 to hedge my bets, and 2 of the 3 she went, they're 2 of my favourites. Brilliant.
That's what you want.
Absolutely. Oh, lots and lots of people saying, what have they missed this morning? What's going on? And all of that. We have Pirate Loveliness that Jane has already done samples and instructions for, and we're just showing you the Lewis and Irene Space Glow collection and how you could use these products for either of today's makes, and they're on a special buy bundle as well. So Jane was about to talk you through those. I'll go back into overhead. Jane, we showed everyone this. It's a 36-inch, so a yard panel.
Yes.
And then it's a ½ metre of each of these 3,
just gonna-
isn't it?
I was just going to measure the actual cushion panel because obviously
nice.
they've got a bit of a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it a finished 80 or
17
Yeah.
finished. But I mean, if you wanted
Depends
to,
if you want to keep the grey in.
if you wanted to keep the grey, as I say, I cut the middle panel of this down to 18.5, so you could quite easily do that with the cushion panel, and you'd have a little bit of a grey border as well.
And then make a more grown-up version of that.
Yeah, you could just do this.
Nice.
I mean, we've got this lovely star fabric, which is part of the
We have.
collection.
Let's go overhead and let Jane carry on showing you lovely things. Now you can hear us again, which is always a good idea, I find.
Always helps.
There we are.
And again, this is space glow, so all these stars will glow in the dark. And you've got
Yes.
shooting stars in there as well. It's got a lovely blue, like midnight blue, but can you see that very subtle stripe that goes through in the shading?
Beautiful.
I love that about Lewis and Irene. They always think about those extra details within their
Yeah.
pattern. It's lovely. So, you know, if you wanted to do the pirate playmat type quilt, you could just do squares of this around, you know, with...
Or grab some bumbleberries as well.
Yeah.
You could have your central panel and then have some of this and bumbleberries.
We've put some of this silver metallic bumbleberries in.
Because why wouldn't you? It's out of this world, Jane.
It is. Amazing. It's gorgeous. And I don't know if you can see that lovely shimmer that's within that metallic.
It's a bit special,
Bumbleberries
isn't
is
it?
a wonderful blender that Macawa have developed.
Lewis and Irene.
Lewis and
There he
Irene.
is.
Ugh.
Okay.
Mouth's not working.
It's
Not my
thrown
mouth,
now,
my
you know.
brain. Yeah, Lewis and Irene have developed this lovely blender of bumbleberries, and they've got a nice collection of metallics as well within that range. And I think we've got some gold, haven't we?
Yeah.
And there was a red metallic. I don't know
There
whether
is
we've still got some of that.
There
I've
was a
got
blue metallic as well. It's a bit special.
Yeah.
I mean, even the non-metallic bumbleberries, they are a special
Oh,
thing.
they're just gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Love a bit of bumbleberries. We have also got a 1/2 metre of this ombre. This is a blue
Nice.
ombre. This is Lewis and Irene's ombre. Look at that.
Now, talking
Reminds
again
me
about...
of
Yeah,
a morning sky as the sun's starting to rise, and
stunning.
that blue just starts to lift. It's gorgeous.
It's really gorgeous, but talking again about the playmat make that you've done, this is where your squares can come from as well. You can
Yes,
have
'cause you get all different shades of blue.
The blue, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Into that over there.
Or use it as your session, and that'll give you some really interesting things going
Stunning. Really stunning.
Yeah.
But what you've done with it today and what you've prepped is to make a version of this here that's
Yes.
slightly different, which is brilliant. So today is all about using those panels and making something different to perhaps what was intended, putting
Yeah.
a creative spin on it.
Just, sometimes you'll get a panel and it's like, this is a cushion panel, and you're like, I don't know, I
Is it
really
though?
want another cushion.
Does it have to
Do
be though?
I?
Who says?
So,
Who says, Jane?
exactly,
So like the first thing we like to do actually,
is when
It's
somebody
supposed to do
says,
this with it. do I have to?
do I
though?
have to though?
That's why I
Naughty.
love you, Jane. 'Cause
Naughty,
we always get
bit of rebellion.
exciting things happening.
Rebellious.
Yeah, definitely.
So, now we've also got the letter templates, the
Yes.
alphabet templates that you can
You
buy
use your own
because,
lettering, can't you?
Yes.
If you want to.
I mean, if you've got a die cutting machine with the alphabet, you're sorted. But we do have some cardboard templates of the whole alphabet here.
Yes. And these are 2-inch tall letters.
Can we go
you
overhead?
Get, they're 210 GSM cards. They're really good quality cards. And you get your alphabet in 2-inch tall letters.
So when you want to put them on your bonder web and trace round, you see it's quite easy to reverse them
Yes.
onto the paper side. You have to remember that you need to do them in reverse on your
Yes.
paper side with your bonder web.
And it might be that you like to use Bondweb, in which case you do it in reverse, or it might be that you're a steamer seam girl. Natasha certainly is.
Yeah.
You both prefer a different medium. That's okay.
Yeah, that's
In
fine.
which case you cut them right way around.
Yes, you can do both ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works. Having them individually works and helps you to just reverse them quite easily for
Yeah.
tracing around.
Yep.
So they're there for you. So you've got one of each letter in your templates. Really handy, very useful for personalising things. When you've got somebody that has a name that isn't, on those
Oh.
stands. With Isaac, I used to have it all the time. I used to love it when we
Yeah.
went to America because they'd always got Isaac.
Yeah.
And now Iris, our little granddaughter, that's not one of those
No.
pre-printed names either.
It's
so
really not. And finding your name on something when you're a kid is dead exciting, isn't it? They
Yes,
love personalisation.
they do.
And if you don't have that, it is a shame. I am tagging as well those letters and the Bondweb and putting them really high up in today's collection. So if you need those, then you can find them. And as Jane said earlier, if you do need to place an order for a second or third or fourth time today because you're like, I didn't put that in my other basket, it's okay. Just pop in the notes, please combine orders, or send us an email if you can't work out how to pop a note on, and we'll combine for you. So look at this.
I have taken 2 of the cushion panels and I just literally cut the panel down the middle
Brilliant.
and measured an inch away from the edge. I haven't layered this up very well, but I did it quite quickly this morning.
That's all right.
So the basic of the actual door panel, and if you do it this way, it's going to be longer than the pirate one, but it's
Yeah.
easy to work out the measurements. Once you've got your panel, you just frame it with whatever you want to frame it with, or not, make it long and thin. You could use one of the cushion panels if you wanted to, that would make it shorter. But this will still fit on a door. will hang above a bed, I would think. It might just come underneath slightly, but you could seam this seam here. You could just remove that border and seam it to make the two squares together. You can work it whichever way you like, but this is just me showing you how you can use another panel to make the actual basis of the door wall hanging. I have put a strip of the ombre either side, so I cut that to the same length as my panel. I've added a 3-inch cut, so it'll be 2.5 finished on either side, just to bring it up to more or less the same width as the panel of the pirates. And then I've cut a strip of the stars for the top and the bottom. Now in the panel, and I don't know if we can go full shot, Gemma, and I'll just explain. We add, because this looks like it's bound all the way round.
It does.
But we've actually we add this strip in before we quilt it, so that we can then add the bunting in and then quilt, and then we bind it, and we bind it around the 3 sides.
It's a really clever little hack there.
So it just gives the impression that whole square is, or rectangle is bound, and the flags are hanging from there, but it's all within, and because you sew that in, and when you quilt round the edge, it looks like it's part of the binding. So I've added that strip. It's only a thin strip. We've added that on.
In the silver bumbleberry?
Yeah,
Nice.
because I'm thinking I'm going to bind this in the silver bumbleberries.
Nice.
Just to give it a bit of a... And so
Beautiful.
because I'm binding it in the silver bumbleberries, I will cut out the letters in the silver bumbleberries as well, because I thought they would show up quite nicely within that
oh, look.
range.
Gorgeous.
So just to go through using the Bonder web.
Oh yes, please, Jane, because it's always a good idea to have a refresher.
Yeah, Bonder web is a sheet adhesive. Now this has been hanging around for a while, and if it hangs around for a while, the adhesive part does tend to come away from the paper. Now if that bothers you, and if it's all come away, you can actually put your paper back on the top and just hover your iron. Don't put your iron on it, just hover your iron over the top, and that will be enough just to soften the adhesive and make it stick back to the paper.
I did not know that, Jane. It's like a clever little bit of witchcraft there that you've come up with.
It's
I
not
love
me.
Jane and her top tips.
It's out there. It's all out there.
But it's okay. You know, you say it's out there, but if you haven't heard it, you haven't heard it.
This is right. So using the cardboard templates, you want to have the letters in reverse, as we've just said. And whatever your name is that you want to personalise your wall hanging with, you will get those letters. You will need an apostrophe. Now there's no punctuation within the templates, but a little hack is you can just use the curve of the J. Makes a very nice, just that part there, just traced around like so.
Oh, clever.
Makes a little comma. Now obviously I've just traced that the right way round. You will need to do it in reverse, but that's how you can use your templates within there. And you'll need your S. So again, I just flip the template over so it's in reverse, and I just trace around the outside of my template with a pencil, or you can use any marker that you like really, but a pencil is the nice, and get a nice sharp point on your pencil as well, so it gives you a nice line to work around. I wrote out my whole name that I needed in a strip just because it was easiest for me, and then I put that onto the reverse of the fabric. You can do each letter individually if you wish to, but that's just like making more work for yourself really. If you were doing individual letters, you just want to cut out the Bonder web sort of roughly around your shape. I mean, you could cut like a square. Obviously any excess Bonder web will stay on your fabric after you've cut it out, so you might want to just, like be a bit frugal with it and just trim it so it's literally about 1/4 inch around all of your shapes so that you haven't got any excess Bonder web hanging around on the back of fabric.
Sure.
Because once it's ironed on and it's not going to come off.
But don't cut on the line.
No, do not cut on the
thing.
line because it's soul destroying.
And I really thought I needed to be very, very frugal with my Bonder web, and I thought I was being clever, going, oh, I will. I'll cut on the line. No. Because then when you've attached it to your fabric, you don't necessarily get adhesion right to the edge of your pieces, do you, Jane?
No.
Which is very annoying. Do you need to redo your apostrophe? Because it was the wrong way around.
Oh, yes.
Just, you know.
Well, I'm not actually. I'll just do the S, I think,
That's
because haven't got a name to put on the top
that's
anyway,
all
so I'm
right.
just going to do demonstration really. So I'll hack that bit off.
It's all right.
Just place the paper onto the reverse of your fabric. Now, you may want to put a piece of greaseproof paper or your Teflon sheet over the top before you do iron. I've just lost my train of thought because I realised I hadn't put the iron on. It's plugged in.
Just press the button.
But it's
Anyone hears a sound that sounds a little bit like a kettle boiling, it's the iron.
You do use a dry iron with Bonder web. I know with Steam you're encouraged to use steam because that helps to soften the adhesive on the back, because Steam has like little bubbles of glue that melt under the heat and the steam and spread.
Yes.
And Bonder web is like a mesh. This has come away from its paper, so I don't know if you can see. If I put that over there, you can see that's like a mesh of adhesive.
Yes.
So it's very fine, like gossamer. And again, when you apply heat to that, it will spread,
Yes.
which is why you cut it a little bit wider than the actual drawn line, and why you might want to put a sheet of paper over the top. Greaseproof paper, your Teflon sheet or something like that, just to protect your iron, because sometimes, particularly like this piece that's a little bit older, it can move away from its paper. So
not ideal, is it?
no, and you don't want it on the bottom of your iron because it causes chaos.
Oh, Jane, we've got some lovely comments today saying you do a great job every time, Jane.
Thank you.
And you're so amazing, Jane. I've learnt so much from you.
That's very
Which is
kind
what
of
we
you.
like to
Thank
hear, 'cause
you.
there's nothing better to hear from a teacher, is there?
No.
From a teacher.
That's the whole point, really, isn't it? That we
Exactly,
do the
that's-
demonstration so that you hopefully do learn something. So,
And at the same time, on YouTube, Cynthia said, Jane, you do a fabulous job, very informative tutorials.
oh,
Yes,
thank
with
you.
the top tips that we like.
So again, you just, once you've got it ironed on, you're just going to cut around your shape. Don't use your very best scissors,
No.
but you do want some nice sharp scissors. Maybe not just your paper ones, maybe your second best ones. And you then cut along the drawn line. And it might help if you wear your glasses, because I've just completely missed the line there. I've got a very funny shape test, never mind.
That's all right.
It is demonstration and I make the mistakes, so you don't have to. So you very carefully cut around your drawn line, and you will take your time, unlike me who's sort of whizzing this around, because we don't want to keep you all day.
Sorry, my little fairy sneeze there.
Yes. Such a delicate sneeze.
I don't know, it's quite loud.
So you've got your letter cut out there,
Lovely.
and you then remove the paper backing. Now the best way to remove the paper backing is to use a pin in the middle of your design, your cutout shape. The temptation to get on the edge and just put your nail underneath the paper and try and flick it off is great. But if you do that and it doesn't always work the first time, you're going to fray your fabric. So the best way to do it is just run a pin, just rub it across, and eventually you'll see it go underneath the paper. And then you can just flick that across and the paper lifts off. The paper becomes very static and sticks to you. and to the dog and everything else. And you
It's
find
everywhere,
it,
doesn't it?
you find it days later.
Yep.
But then that on the wrong side now, it's got like a little bit of a sheen on it. That is now the adhesive on there. So when you come to put those on, you'll then place them, make sure they're in the right place. Now I recommend you take it to the iron to do this, because you know that as soon as you place them on your cutting mat and then walk over to the iron, they're all going to move. I marked with my fabric pencil, I think the shapes, the letters, they're about 2 inches high. So I think on this I went sort of like 2 inches from the top and then measured 2 inches down, just so that I got a parallel line, just to make sure that my letters were straight, in a straight line. So once you've got those off and you're happy with where they are and you're sure about the placing, and sometimes it's worth just taking a photograph, because when you're standing over it you can't see it, but if you look on a photograph you think, oh actually that needs putting it together closer, or that's just not quite right. You can then, again, you might want to put a piece of greaseproof paper over the top or your Teflon sheet and press those down, and then they're adhered. Now they will stay, if you're not going to wash it, they'll stay on there forever, but they, over time, if you don't sew them around the edge and you wash it, the pieces will become loose again.
Absolutely.
So on mine I just did a free motion stitch all around the letters, just round them, but you could do blanket stitch or a zigzag, whatever you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
There's some nice decorative stitches on some of the bigger machines that you could use. You might want to use a variegated thread, which gives it a bit of interest as well, or a thread that matches your letters, whichever you prefer. It's completely up to you. So that's adding the letters onto there.
Jane, we have Leslie saying that she's lucky enough to have a Cricut machine, and it's wonderful for these sorts of templates.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And it is, and that's, again, you know, you need a full alphabet, of course, for this project, because we don't know what name you're going to put on.
Absolutely.
But similarly, you know, if we put a full alphabet in, then that would have increased the price of the kits. We were just really keen to acknowledge that some of you will have a die cutting machine.
Yes.
Some of you will already have the templates and will have bought them from us before, because we have had them listed previously.
Yes.
So the templates are there separately for those of you who don't have a method of cutting your letters.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we've kept the cost down by keeping them out of the kit.
Yeah,
So
which is,
just remember to add them separately if you need them.
Yeah, that's what you'll need. Now, you will add the bunting on next, and I'm going to show you how to make the bunting. And I've used one of the other panels from this selection to create the bunting. I've used it like a piece of fabric.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, with the skull and crossbones one, there's a pre-printed panel. But if you use any other panel, unless you've got some pre-printed bunting that matches the panel, because there are several out there, you might need to make your own bunting.
Which is okay.
And that's fine, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
And we have a bunting instruction as well. So
yes.
Again, you know, if you need a template, you've got that, but Jane's going to show you.
You only need 3 flags on this, really, to the width of that it is. I found it's very easy to make a bunting template. That's an A4 piece of paper. I decided on the length of my bunting, adding on the seam allowance, so that's 8.5 there. I measured how wide I wanted it to be, drew equal amount of line either side, and then just drew the lines to join up to the bottom of that line that I wanted. I've then traced that onto template plastic, she says confidently. It's all under here somewhere. Because it's template plastic, it's see-through. There it is.
There it is. We have an invisible piece of template plastic. If you haven't used it before, it is something that is an essential in your stash.
Oh, absolutely. And I have just trimmed the points of the top off 1/4 inch. So with my ruler, just I thought I got the small one here. I had it a minute ago.
All these invisible things, Jane.
Yeah, all these things that are see-through. So just because the Creative Grids is great, it's got the 1/4 inch mark on there. It's sort of like a frosted effect, so you know the 1/4 inch. Just take that through, and if you obviously I've taken the point off, but if you place your ruler on that point, you can just snip that 1/4 inch off. I just find that reduces the bulk in the corners with the bunting. And when I make my string of bunting with the pre-printed panels, I tend to just snip that top corner off just a 1/4 inch, because when you turn it through to the right side, you've got quite a lot of seam and a bit that sticks up.
Okay.
So I always find that useful. So I decided, and you can choose whichever one you want, or you could make it out of different colours. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but I just thought I'd show you how easy it would be. That I could use this panel here.
Nice. Oh, that works, doesn't it?
And make my bunting out of the spacemen. So I've drawn around my template, and I've used one of our water-soluble dressmaking pencils. It's a white one, so obviously it will show up nicely on here.
Really inexpensive.
And the beauty of the template plastic is I can see where that spaceman's going to fall, and I might want to bring him over just a little bit, because I have to remember my seam allowance is included in this.
Sure.
So I don't want to have the seam cutting off his head or his hands. So making sure that it's just in the right place. I'll just go over that bit there.
It's all about having the bits and bobs that you need to hand at the time, isn't it, Jane?
Yeah, it just helps. And these pencils are great because they're wide. Yeah, I'm not going to break the bank.
£1.49. You've got one to hand in your,
They're just ideal because you've got. It's a good with the white. It's visually easy to see the line that you've marked, and then I can just cut around that. Then I could use my ruler and my rotary cutter and line it up with the marked line if I felt that's what I wanted to do. And the thing is, if like me, you've drawn on it several times, you've actually got it's washable, or it just brushes off because it's chalk.
Perfect.
So over time, with sewing and handling, those marks are going to disappear, but you can wash it. You can wash it off as well, and you don't have to stick it in the washing machine, wash it off. You can just get a damp cloth and just give it a rub, and it will disappear. So, just cutting the 3 flags from that panel is utilising another one of that part of the panel. Nice. That will coordinate nicely with my print. You might feel that that's a little bit too much and it's quite wasteful on the fabric. It depends how you feel about it, and we're aware that not everybody likes to cut up things and have lots of stuff sort of like, once I've cut the 3 panels from this, the rest of the fabric is pretty much defunct really. But you've got some nice blue that you could put into, this edge here.
Or in your EPP stash.
EPP stash, and even some little bits of the black.
Black holes, isn't there?
Yeah, so
I think,
it's still some utilisable pieces of fabric, even though you've just hacked 3 triangles out of the middle of it.
Or confetti quilting, Jane.
Yeah, it was just to give you the idea of how you can utilise your panel as well as, and obviously you need to draw all your 3 buntings on to make sure that you don't do what I've just done and cut through the middle of the top of the one.
You've done it so that everyone else
doesn't have to. You might get away with keeping it in the seam allowance. But then I have taken some of the leftover pieces. When I cut this panel here, there was a chunk of fabric at the end that was left over. So I cut, using my template, I have cut triangles from that using my template, so I can use that on the back of my bunting flags. Now I was going to bring in the piece of H640 and it was on my mind to pick it up as I walked past it, and I haven't done it.
Tiny? Because we have some stash in here.
Do we? It just has to be the same size as the bunting flag, that's all.
Okay. Which we can cut using the template that's there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So you'll still have, even after doing the bunting flags, you'll still have one more panel left over which you can make as a coordinating cushion, like the skull and crossbones. So you've got all of that fabric at your disposal.
Look, secret stash.
Yeah.
That'll do, won't it?
It'll do. It'll do. So I can cut this, and what I can do. This is getting.
What invisible item is missing now?
My little ruler, I just had it. There it is. Oh my gosh!
Earlier this week, you and I just kept saying the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, they said we were going to
And
put us into a
entire
room.
day, we just needed to go somewhere, preferably padded, and just be left to our own devices, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we would have just been saying, "You shut up." No, you shut up. No, I said it first.
I said it
no,
first.
I said it first. But we've had a bit of a mad week, haven't we?
It's just been a bit crazy.
Yeah, it's.
So I can cut that with my rotary cutter.
Oh, I love
lining that,
H640.
lining that up with my ruler.
Always cutting away from yourself, or Jane comes over and slaps your legs.
So
everyone knows.
what I would do is I would put my bunting flag, the backing fabric face upwards, the front of the bunting flag face down, and my piece of wadding, it doesn't have to be H640, it can be any wadding, but I like the H640 because it's got a little bit of firmness, but it's not thick.
Yes.
I like polyester wadding for children's makes, purely because you tend to have to wash children's makes a bit more, and polyester wadding doesn't shrink.
Yes.
It's just a personal preference, and any wadding is as good as, you know, the function that you want it for. I don't think there's any right or wrong. If you like something and you like the way it feels, then that's the wadding for you. It depends on the finish that you want.
Personal preference, isn't
It
it?
is. It's all down to that at the end of the day.
But I think there's sometimes, people can turn their nose, they put polyester waddings, and there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah. And sometimes, your budget is such that polyester is all that you're able to use.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely
Nothing
not.
wrong with that at all.
So I have sewn the 3 layers together, so I've got basically a pocket of my bunting and my wadding on the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that piece of wadding. Now I'm convinced I brought my glasses in, but I obviously didn't.
Could someone have a little look in Jane's room, see if her glasses are there? I mean, they'll probably be on the ironing board next to a sewing machine or something like
They
that.
could be anywhere. Knowing me, they're probably in the loo.
Because I have got
You've
the
got
good
the
eyesight.
eyes. It's all right. It just gets a bit of a strain, doesn't it, after a while? So
Oh, look! Well done, office child. We're in overhead. You're safe. You don't
Thank
have to do
you
the crab
so
walk.
much,
She's doing the
SJ.
crab walk anyway.
Thank you, SJ. You're a star.
She's got her specs on now.
Inga found it amongst the bolts of fabric.
Yeah, that'd be right. That'd be
It was
it.
the day she left them at work, and then I sent her a photo of myself wearing them. Oh,
Fortunately, I
dear.
have got spare pairs. So I'm just trimming this little bit of wadding away from the seam, basically. And this just reduces the bulk in the seam. I just find it makes it easier for the bunting to lie flat. Now, if I was making ordinary bunting to hang, I wouldn't wad it.
No.
This is just purely for the wall hanging.
And I suppose that's, you've got a padded / wadded panel, haven't
Yes.
you? So it's nice.
I
to
just
be
wanted it
consistent.
to have a bit
Yeah.
more rigidity to it.
Yeah, and be
So-
consistent.
Yeah, and so I've trimmed that now as close to the stitching as I can without obviously cutting the stitching. And I'm going to trim the point of my flag as well. And I don't just snip it across there. I like to do it in a V, quite close. And again, I'm making sure that I don't snip into that stitching at the bottom. But this, again, is just purely to reduce the bulk. as I'm turning it through. I have found that it helps it to lie flatter, and I would do this with even unwadded bunting.
Okay.
And just trim that little bit there just to reduce the bulk. And if you use a smaller stitch, you could maybe even make your seam allowance a little bit thinner as well.
Nice.
And then it's just a case of turning that through to the right side, giving you a little pointer poke with your pokey tool, your purple fang if you've got one of those.
Yeah.
They're really good. And your scissors if you're really careful and don't poke it through your
or the
seam.
wooden thing that comes in
Yeah.
with your
Turning
tools. Which I love those, by the way. If anyone's ever
Knitting
got to make
needle, whatever you
a
need.
long tube. You get two
Yeah.
of these in a pack, prim ones.
That's really
And,
handy.
That wooden stick that's inside there.
But you can see, because I cut that off at a square ended there, when I turn that through, there's not much bulk here now, which sort of helps. And I would, obviously I would make 3 of these. And I would over sew the edge, just, you know, about 1/8 of an inch in, just to give it a flatness and keep it tidy. You want to give it a press, just to flatten it out a little bit, just, you know, to make it look neater. And you will do that with all 3 of your flags. Now obviously, to reduce time and everything else, I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to show you the principle of it. So we have got the 3 flags that we're going to now place along the bottom. Now, as I said, I have layered this up just because I wanted to show you the step with the binding, really. I'm not going to show you all the binding, but I just wanted to show you the basic step. So you would do this before you've layered it up and quilted it. So I'm just going to unpin these now. So you have to use your imagination and pretend that I haven't got the wadding and the backing on this.
Yeah.
You've just got your quilt front. You would take your bunting flags and just line them up to make sure your spacing is as you want it. And then you will place them, turn them up so they're right sides together basically with your, you would have all of your flags wadded and backed. Just showing you for demonstration purposes. So, you know, you probably will measure it through, making sure that they are central to your design.
So put the middle one in the middle. And
Yeah.
then you're meeting these points here.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Not.
Yeah, they're pretty much on top of each other, or you might have a little gap depending on the size of your one. But you don't want, you don't want them to come right to the edge, because if you have them right at the edge, you're going to have problems when you come and do your binding. So give yourself a good inch, really, in to come in. But once you're happy with the spacing and how they sit and all of that, and of course, you know, it helps if you have them hanging down while you're working out your spacing, so that you can see them and visualise how they're going to hang in relation to the centre of the panel. That always helps. But then you'll flip them so that they are right sides together, and you will join them to the quilt top. So you will hem along there all the way down. Okay. I'm just going to pin this for demonstration purposes so that we can pretend that I have now got a 1/4 inch seam running along my bunting. So you will attach your flags to your quilt top. Then you will layer it. So your backing fabric, I've used a calico here, your wadding and your quilt top.
Right.
Quilt it however you wish. I went around the skull shape, and then I did a little bit of filigree in the bottom sections here. With the Lewis and Irene, you've got nice circles that you could do. You could do a cross hatch pattern like I've done on the play mat. You could simply do filigree all over it, you know, wiggly squiggly line. That's up to you how much or how little quilting you want to do with it. The panels lend themselves beautifully to having a go at a bit of free motion to go around the shapes. It's a good way of practicing moving it around shapes. it's lovely because it's a small area to work in.
And you've got some shooting stars as well, so there's some opportunity to have a bit of a whoosh.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
So once you've quilted and you're happy with your quilting and everything else, you will trim your quilt top level with your quilt at the top and the two sides, but at the bottom here you will just trim it. You won't trim it level.
Okay.
You trim it an inch away.
Okay.
Through the two layers, because not through the top wadding, but an inch away from the edge. So you have to imagine, and for this demonstration purposes, you've got a 1/4 inch seam going on here, holding these bunting flags to your quilt. You've quilted it all through, it's all together, and you're now going to trim just an inch from the bottom of your quilt so you've got an inch of wadding and an inch of backing fabric.
Okay.
The sides, and I'm just going to trim this bit here just to give you a visual. I think we said this last week, we need a new blade in here.
You do need a new blade, we need to get some 60mm blades.
Just going to turn this round and just trim that bit. So you will have your sides trimmed level, backing, wadding, quilt top level.
Quilted.
Top and the two sides. The bottom, as I said, 1 inch away. You've still got your flags facing up and out of the way at this point. You then take your backing fabric, and it might be quilted. Don't quilt it in this area, this inch area that's your faux binding. You can quilt up to there, but you will then flip this backing out of the way, bring this back down, and now trim your wadding level with your background. I'm doing it this way just because I feel it's easier. You might think, well, why don't you just trim your wadding and move your backing? I think because you've got a lesser amount, it's easier to handle.
Okay.
So
trust your judgment, Jane. We always do.
Just trim that piece of wadding away. So that's now level with your quilt. But if I flip this back, I've still got an inch of wadding.
Backing.
Backing, rather.
And you've used a calico here, haven't you? So that's what you can see.
So now I'm just going to trim that piece of backing down to 1/2 inch.
Oh, okay.
Because I now am going to bring my flags back down.
Okay.
So I've got my seam here, underneath here. If I flip this over, I would have a seam, a line of stitching. Yes. So I will fold that piece of backing over so it covers that line of stitching. Gotcha. And now I would slip stitch that. Right. So on this side,
so it looks bound from the front.
It looks bound from the front. It will look like that.
Clever. Clever.
Can you see that? So if I just pop a pin in here, you will have your edge here. So when you come to attach your wadding, your binding, God, get your words right, Jane.
That's all right.
I've cut some strips of
you'll have a faux bound edge at the bottom, just there smiling at you.
And you've got your binding strips, which you do in the normal way with your binding. You'll join them with a 45-degree seam. I think, it's a standard width. You'll join them with your 45-degree seam. You'll press it right sides together.
Wrong sides together.
Wrong sides together, sorry.
It's all right.
You will join your wadding, your binding, onto the reverse of your quilt.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, leave a good inch of binding loose there before you start. So you're only going to sew it onto the 3 sides. So you're going to go down the sides, along the top, and down the other side in the usual way that you would sew your binding on.
Okay.
So you will have your binding sewn on, and we'll pin it for purposes of demonstration.
Yeah.
Using a 1/4 inch seam, I use my walking foot when I'm attaching my binding, purely because I've got 3 layers and then 2 layers of binding there. So that's 5 layers that you're sewing through, so your walking foot works better. So you'll then bring this binding round and to the front. Okay, but before you sew it down, you need to fold this up,
yeah.
and then fold that back. Now it might just take a little bit of manipulation so you don't get that raw edge showing, and you might find that once you've folded it up, you might just trim a little bit off, just a corner off, so that you can then fold that over, or just fold it under, whichever works for you. Okay, so it encases, if you look on here, that's encased that raw edge there.
Gotcha.
And you've got that folded over. And then I've sewn this down with the machine,
Yes.
just close to the edge there on that side,
Smart.
so it comes across. It does, obviously when it's sewn and you've got it all trimmed down and everything, it does give you a nice neat edge.
Yeah.
Like
Brilliant.
so.
But you're only doing the 3 sides.
Yeah,
Because the bottom.
because this bottom piece here is like the faux piping.
Yeah.
And encases the flags. So that's how it all goes together.
Brilliant. Oh, I love it. And it's going to look so different to the pirate one.
But it's
it works.
using the pirate pattern in the same way.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
if you've got a smaller panel than the pirate cushion, you could just make your panel as wide as the measurements that are in it. Your strip is the same.
Yeah.
The bunting flags, I've just shown you how you can use part of your panel or even some of your coordinating fabric. You know,
I really love today's makes, Jane, because I've got panels in my stash that I've bought them because they're cute, but then I haven't had the vision of what to do with them. And to know that, you know, you've got, like you say, cushion panels used in so many different ways here.
Yeah.
And this panel, and let's not forget this is brand new Lewis and Irene here.
Yeah.
Space Glow with some of the brand new ombre. Now that ombre fabric is very difficult to get hold of.
Yes.
We pre-ordered ours a very long time ago and they couldn't fulfill all of it.
No.
Because it was just so in demand globally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these fabrics here, you'll be able to use them in so many different ways.
Yes.
Or just add it to your stash.
Yeah.
There's some
Or
great
just make them
options.
into cushions.
Yeah.
Because they're cushion panels.
Absolutely
It's just-
fine as well.
I
But
just
you've got
wanted
4,
to give you options
you know.
and to show you that it doesn't have to be a cushion.
Well, and when you've got 4 on one of those yard panels, you don't necessarily want 4 cushions.
No.
And yes, you could double side your cushions and have, you know, both sides.
Yeah.
But it sometimes feels a bit of a waste, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it feels like you're not always going to see it. But
I
they're
like to do an
reversible.
envelope back cushion. So
Yes.
I'd use my fancy fabric at the front, envelope the back.
Yeah.
And then I've got 3 left over then. What am I doing with them? You could do 2 cushions, but there comes a point where
Yes.
you've done 2 cushions and you think, I don't need 4 for
Yeah.
my child's bed. So
No.
to know that you can make this sort of thing with it, it's
Yes.
brilliant.
It just gives you options,
brilliant.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
And again, with a 4 cushion panel, if you use 2 cushions for your door hanging, one of your panels for your bunting flags, you've still got a panel left for a cushion. So it's all coordinated, just like the skull and crossbones one.
And Jane, the skull and crossbones cushion that you've done, like you say, that beautiful spotty border, that's part of the panel.
Yes, that's
anyway,
part of
so
it.
It's really simple to do. I can see that the panels on their own have gone. We've got possibly 1 or 2 kits left, but that's about it. But with this one, you've done an envelope back.
Yeah.
You've done a bound edge. And I have put the bound edge instructions
Yeah,
in today. Jane, you've done a whole collection of cushion finishing instructions for us. Our cushion finishing with flare.
You can add flange piping to it. You don't have to bind it. You could just edge to edge it. However you feel comfortable.
Nice.
You've all got probably your favourite way of finishing a cushion. You
But
might
if
want to put a
not-
zip in the back. It's up to you.
Yeah,
It's completely...
If you haven't got your favourite way of finishing a cushion and you perhaps haven't done much with cushions, your instructions are very
There's a
helpful.
selection of
Yeah.
finishes there that'll help you give some ideas and how to do them. Yeah.
For that professional looking finish. So cushion finishing with flare is one to check out. Please do fill your boots with these deals today. They won't last forever. We also then at midnight have the half metre heavens. Some of those, we've only got a couple of them. So again, grab them while you see them.
Yes.
Don't be sad afterwards, because if we can't fulfil it, then we get sad, and that's not something we want to be,
No.
especially as tomorrow is the office child's birthday. She's 30. On Friday, you will have a newsletter coming out. Always deals to be had, so keep an eye on those. And on Monday, Jane, we're having a Magic Monday.
Yes.
Because you're going to be back with me on Monday.
I'm back again on Monday.
Yes. Got something lovely for us Monday.
Yes, we've got a
Pretty.
nice creative grid that's going to give you a lovely pretty block.
Yeah.
And we're going to use it with some really gorgeous Lisa Chandler.
Fantastic. Good stuff. So that will be Monday's show, and then Natasha will be back live with you on Tuesday and Wednesday. She's actually, I believe, on that there creating craft.
Oh, she is.
Weekend.
Yes, on Sunday, isn't she?
Sunday.
Yes.
So if you want a Natasha fix, you'll be able to find her there as well. But yes, thank you for joining us. Natasha said you could have had the group glasses in the bureau. She's
Now
terrible
she
as well.
says.
She leaves hers everywhere,
Yes.
so there's always a pair of reading glasses somewhere. Hence we make her cases and try and do that. Keep them wherever she needs them.
Yes.
Ali says, lovely and lovely. All the
Aw,
lovelies.
thank you, Ali.
We love a lovely. Thank you for being lovely. We will see you again on Monday. Take care, lots of love, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.